Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're taking a look at 6 different credit cards for beginners. So many people have asked which card should they start with, and that's what we're going to help you with in this video. Now, we've mentioned before many times on this channel that credit cards, they're not for everyone. Some people might be better off not using credit cards at all, not touching them. In other cases, if you are financially responsible, I believe that credit cards can be okay. You can reap thousands of dollars worth of benefits from them. I've done it, and I've never paid a single penny in interest. So if you want to learn more about cards, whether you should use a debit card or a credit card or which option might be best for you, then check out some of the other videos on this channel. Make sure you're subscribed, and let's get started with this video. Now, there's a couple of rules that you need to stick by religiously before getting a card, and you need to really be aware of these. One of them being that you should never, ever carry balance on your card. Never carry balance. Okay, so if you're spending $400 on a dishwasher with your credit card and you can't pay that off at the end of the month, you should not have a credit card. Don't pay a single penny in interest. I've never paid interest in all the years that I've had credit cards, and that is really when you start to shoot yourself in the foot and you're essentially doomed. And I really mean that. So if you have a credit card balance right now, just pay everything off, and if you're looking to get started with the credit cards, just keep that in mind. So I'm very adamant about that, but it's incredibly important to be aware of so that you can get in a better financial position. Some other tips, we can get into those, but I think we should just start with some of the best credit cards. The first one being the Secured Mastercard from Capital One. So the benefits of this card are that it's essentially something that almost anyone can get. You don't have to have any previous credit. Even if you have bad credit, you can probably still get this card. And the reason for this is because it's a secured card. This is what you're probably going to have to do unless you already are making $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 per year. You're probably gonna have to get a secured credit card to get started. So the way that this works is that you might essentially put up $100 or $200. I think with this card specifically, you can put up like $49 as a deposit into your account. What they do now is they offer you a certain line of credit, probably around the range of what you gave them as a security deposit, sort of like the same idea of like when you rent an apartment, you have to pay your security deposit in case something goes wrong, right? Same thing goes with credit cards. When you're first getting started, you put them, you give them a security deposit of maybe $200, let's say, right? So if you did that, then you get a certain credit limit of, say, $200. Sometimes they'll give you a higher one. And then once you show them that you're able to pay off your bills on time, you're not defaulting on your loans, you get that money back. So it's not actually costing you anything. It's just upfront. You're gonna have to pay money that you get back, just like with an apartment would work. Now, there's no benefits to this card in terms of like rewards. It's because it's helping people get started, but there is no annual fee, so you can get started for really free, and that's what I do think is good about this card. It's not my favorite, but it's one that is certainly an option for people trying to start to build their credit to get a better score. The next one I think is really kind of a rite of passage for many people, and that is the Discover It card. Now, Discover offers a wide variety of cards. A lot of them are what we could say as entry-level cards, but they really can have a lot of benefits. I love talking to Discover on the phone. They're very, very friendly people, but this one actually has some benefits to it. So once again, this could be a secured card. You might be able to get just the regular Discover cards without having to pay a security deposit on it, depending on your income. Generally, I've found that if you're making, say, $30,000 or $40,000 per year or more, you might not have to have that security deposit up front to get that secured card. But this card is going to give you 1% cash back on a lot of different purchases, I think on everything, and then 2% cash back on, I believe, gas and grocery stores. So it does give you a pretty decent amount of money back. You're probably going to average this out to maybe 1.25% to 1.5% cash back in total from your purchases. So I think this is a great card for students, a great card for a lot of people just getting started. Generally, there's no foreign transaction fees on Discover cards, and that's kind of because they're not really accepted overseas in many places. So that is a downside to them. And I found that having just a Discover card, it can work in a lot of cases, but there are some stores, there are some places that don't accept Discover cards. So the next one is the Wells Fargo Cashwise Visa card. This one might be my favorite on this list. The only downside to it is that you're probably going to have a card before this. I know this is for beginners, but there's a lot of people who already have one credit card and they're looking to maybe get another card. I think the one misconception that people have about credit cards is that the more cards you have, the worse position you're in. That's actually not true, and you can look into this further, but when you look at how many credit cards people have, some people have 20 cards and they're racking up bills on all those cards. That's bad. Other people, on the other hand, for example, let's take the guy who has the most credit cards in the world. He has hundreds of credit cards and he has almost a perfect score for his credit score. So just because you have more cards doesn't mean that you're going to be in a worse financial position necessarily. So if you have 2 to 3 or 4 credit cards, that can be okay. So long as you're applying those rules that we've mentioned in previous videos about how to use credit cards, that can be okay. And I've done it myself. I have a number of cards, never paid a single penny in interest. So this Wells Fargo card has a great number of benefits. One of them being that you get $150 cash back when you spend your first $500 on this card. Now, I want to stop you there because some people are going to say, well, gee, if I have to spend $500 to get $150, I'm still out $350. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to think of it as if you are already spending this money in the first place, if you already have to buy groceries, you got to pay for gas at the gas station or some various other expenses, you might as well throw it on this card and get a free $150. What I don't want you to do, and what you should never do, is try to find a way to spend $500 so that you can then get the bonus and sit down and think, well, what should I buy with this $500 so that I can get this money back? That's a bad idea. That's how these card companies get you to spend more money, by setting these things. So what I do, and what I've done in the past when I've opened up other credit cards and I don't reach those limits on spending for that card, I just won't care and I just won't think about it. So it's a bonus. It's something on top, but not something that you should be going for right away. Now, the Wells Fargo card also gives you 1.5% cash back on all purchases, which is pretty great. Who would leave 1.5% cash on the table for every purchase that they make? I'm not sure. I like to get that money back, and I like that it's a flat rate, so it doesn't incentivize me to like spend more money on certain things. I know some cards have rotating rates where you might get 5% cash back on, say, Amazon purchases in the first quarter, and then 5% cash back on purchases at Best Buy or Costco. I don't really like those because it kind of incentivizes me to spend more money. I feel, it's just my opinion. I like the ones that have flat rate cashback offers like 1.5%, like this Wells Fargo card. Now, it also does have some other benefits besides being a free card that you don't have to pay money for. I don't think any of the ones on this list have any type of annual fee. I'm not a big fan of those. Sometimes they can be worth it, but in most cases, I just try to avoid annual fees. But one of the benefits of this Wells Fargo card is that you can protect your phone up to, I believe, $600 if you're paying your phone bill with this credit card and your phone breaks or it gets stolen, then it's actually protected by this card. And don't quote me on that, but you can look into this on your own and you'll see it on their main page when signing up for this card, that it essentially gives you insurance on your phone if you're making your payments for your phone with this card. So it does have a lot of good benefits to it. I really think that's the case. And let's talk about the next one here, which is the Chase Freedom Unlimited card. Now, this one, it's pretty interesting. So I do like cards that have Visa or MasterCard. Like I said, Discover and American Express, they're not accepted everywhere, especially if you're doing a lot of traveling outside of the United States. You might not be able to find an American Express or a Discover place everywhere, but having a Visa card or MasterCard can be beneficial. So the Chase Freedom Unlimited, what this is going to do, it gives you 3% cash back on all purchases for the first year. Now, after that, it's 1.5% cash back, but once again, this is just free money that you'd be leaving on the table otherwise if you're using other types of payments. So, over the course of a year, I find myself that I might have at least a few $100s from cash back by just using this card over something else, so long as I'm adamant about making sure that I have enough money in my accounts to pay for these bills. It's just free money, really. Now, the next one here is the Bank of America Travel Rewards card. Now, this one really has some great benefits to it. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies or cards, by the way, so I don't want it to sound like I'm really pushing any of these. But this Bank of America card, I think it's perfect for people who maybe they don't have a lot of money to travel. They say, I wish I could go on a trip this year, but I don't have any money to do it. This card could be something that you want to look into. The reason for that is because you get 25,000 bonus points when you sign up for this card, and you spend, I believe it's $1,000 in the first 3 months of having this card. Now, once again, going back to what we said earlier, don't feel like you have to spend $1,000. If you can't do that, then just don't. Don't go with the mindset of trying to spend that money. It's only if you're already doing it that it could make sense. Now, there's 25,000 points. That equates to about $250 worth of travel expenses. Plus, on top of that, you get 1.5 points back on every dollar that you spend, which can really be kind of equated to saying about 1.5% money back for that towards travel. So when you combine those, it can really be a good deal, and you can end up getting getting hundreds of dollars, close to, you know, $300, $400, $500 per year by using this credit card that you can then go to Hawaii for a week if you want to and have most of it paid for with this credit card. Now, it does also have a couple of other benefits, one of them being that there's no foreign transaction fees, and on top of that, there's 0% APR for the first 15 months. Not that that should make the decision for you. I think that can really get people into a lot of trouble when they see that there's no interest for 15 months and they start to rack up a balance on it. Probably not a good idea, but it is there that you can take advantage of. Now, the final one here, it is actually an American Express. I thought I would include one on this list, and the reason for it is because sometimes American Express cards can actually give you some different benefits that these other cards cannot. So this is the American Express Cash Magnet card, and with this card, you're going to get a $150 bonus when you spend $1,000 on top of 1.5% cash back on every purchase that you make, which is pretty similar to the other cards that we've mentioned. The one thing that has sort of a benefit to this over the other ones is that sometimes with American Express cards, I do have an American Express card, and the reason for it is because you can actually get some certain benefits that other cards can't get. One of them being that for certain entertainment options, you can actually get like a pre-sale when other people can't. So for example, back in February, I had an American Express card, not this one specifically, but I was able to actually get pre-sale tickets for a concert for all of my friends at a much cheaper price than anybody else, but nobody else could buy it because they didn't have an American Express card. It was an American Express sponsored pre-sale. So it worked out pretty well. They also have a lot of other benefits. This is not the platinum card you have to spend a lot of money on. There's no annual fee on this Cash Magnet card. But once again, as I said, it's not accepted everywhere. It's accepted in a wide number of places. It really is growing a lot faster, so that's good. But that's this video. If you found any value in it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like. Like I said earlier, guys, not everybody should use credit cards. If you've had a lot of problems with them in the past, then maybe just don't use a credit card. Use a debit card, pay with cash if you just find yourself that you're not really wanting to use a card. So thanks for watching this video. Any questions, comments, leave them down below, and I'll see everybody in the next video.